at parked cars.
Okay, Captain Lawrence, turn us back up the main stem of the Chicago River. And of course, we're going to go beyond where we started.
About 2 or 3 of these bridges and completely rehabilitate them. But they're quite a thing. Chicago is
limestone, you can make out carvings of trees.
So we wrote the tree level, you see columns on the outside and throughout the building. Again, the structure, that was the beauty of the building in mind. And we can't see that here. We'll see a lot of other modern buildings later in the cruise, we can't see that, so just hang on for that. Black blue glass area on the apartment building, I talked about it. Building just behind it, Blackstone building, 2 weeks setting out tower behind it. From 1930 by Halliburton, that's the old Sal Backer building. And almost all of our tall buildings in the late 1920s, early 1930s have an exact same shape. And there's a reason for that. In 1923, we passed our first zoning ordinance that allowed us to build taller than we'd ever been allowed to build before. The buildings had to get smaller as they got taller, so it light further down the street. There was literally a math formula you had to follow. And then commercial air travel. Airplanes did not have the radar and GPS that they have now. They needed help finding Chicago Municipal Airport, now called Midway. So our towers had lights on the top of airplanes point themselves to figure out how to get to the airport. Obviously, not in use today. The I-10 River level here on the left, because we have a bridge each street, and because we gain each block in the Riverwalk. This block, this is called the River Theater. Folks come out and sit and relax and enjoy the show. That's the show. Yes, exactly. And I gotta tell you, for an April matinee, this is an amazing crowd. I was out here yesterday, there was one person. So this is pretty exciting. Yes, we encourage you to continue to check out the bridge houses. They are architecture, but I got so many buildings to talk about, I won't focus on them. But as we learn the years and styles, you can start to see how old the bridges are by the style of art. Absolutely crazy, but the kind of thing we're doing in postmodern times. And then let's take one more on the left, that green curved building. Also by Clint Patterson, in fact, a little bit earlier. Because we cut the corporate river. Beyond that, in a moment, you'll be able to look to the left on the south bench of the Chicago River, which looks inviting. Captain Laura will take us there, which is that during that same time period, within 2 miles of downtown, that primarily first residential building I want to show you. That parking garage has no ramps. Take the car elevator up to lift and lift. They can keep. I'm going to show you today. It looks absolutely nothing like it looked in 1898. Harry Weiss, W-E, the sale of the cell phone. Harry Weiss makes runnings for really unique urban living in the river cottages. For the coast of Chicago River, I take your attention to the right side of it. Require the public river walk. So you look at one here on the right. That's not a military wall. The problem with that then is it's multiple structural. They can't remove them. Over 1,000 pages long. The bridge has lasted for 129 years. It no longer exists today. But the reason I'm telling you so much about Montgomery Ward is about to see all the buildings. Moro Yamasaki, the architect of that building, the same architect that designed the Twin Towers. And on this day in Lake Michigan is where we get our drinking water. We were poisoning our own bridge for the Chicago River. We jumped on the south, always keep out on the road, that's the point. Bridge down. I've missed it for something on the top. Or get seasick while they're just sitting there. Oh, you can probably look up there and find yourself. There we go. You look good. And I told you, Dutch. So what a smart design to get as many square feet on this lot as they could, but still get that mandated public river walk. That's where the Opera House is on the other side, second largest opera house in the United States after the one in Lincoln Center in New York City. Keep the size of this big stone in your mind as you look ahead on the left into the next block. Maroon building, 2 towers, a low-rise part. There's that low, simple section. You'll be able to see the structure behind the windows. You never see it. And that's because the railway shooting off right through the center of the post office. When they built that original post office building in the 20s, they left a hole in the bottom of the building. So when the interstate highway system came along, we needed a place to shoot our interstate highway off to the west. Underneath it, and you'll see there's a marina under there, but more importantly, pretty industrial down there. But in the 19th century, now staying on the right ahead, the next block as well. And we come out for this next bridge. I want to focus on that Boeing building, but that's the old Chicago Daily News building, a very famous newspaper here in Chicago that no longer exists.
now to North Riverside Plaza. Discovery, and so it's very common in Art Deco architecture to find these ancient Egyptian and Middle Eastern references, and it really makes no sense. To account Chilton from 2009, and this building is LEED certified, L-E-E-D. It says for leadership in action, 1914 by George Nimmons. That's the old Reed Murdoch building. Now corporate offices, if you look above the clock there, you can see it says War River. I look, that clock says about 2:10, so that means we got about 10 minutes left on the bathrooms. I promise not to break. Meeting with a developer for that building, and the developer asked for a building that looked like a champagne bottle. So they tinted their terracotta to live in a city for it to be alive and vibrant. But it was called Marina City because it had to be a city within a city. They're very clean, very smooth, no real applied decoration. And a little bit easier on this side of the river to see the columns on the outside of AA Plaza, but really easy to building. He said, Adrian Smith said, I don't want to crowd the historic Wrigley building. Now condominiums. Which are planned in the 1950s, like to be along water. And here on the left, 2 stories. When they're finished that building, they're building a 55-story. You can actually look through the building. The hospital you see on Navy Pier is a slightly on the buildings along the river's edge. We tore out this huge railroad yard.